It's theory time. I've got some thoughts on Deebo Samuel, Tory Dandy, A.J. Brown, all this NFL receiver mayhem in between day one and day two of the NFL draft. In case you're wondering where I am, beautiful downtown Redwood City before I got to go into the bunker there at Levi's Stadium. Anyway, really quick here. Yesterday, we saw 6 receivers drafted. We saw Marquise Brown traded from the Ravens to the Cardinals. We saw A.J. Brown traded from the Titans to the Eagles, and we saw nothing happen with Deebo Samuel, who's obviously requested a trade. What is the commonality between those 3 veterans? Well, the commonality is that they've all either been traded or requested a trade, and they all have the same agent, Tory Dandy. And I think that explains a whole heck of a lot. Now, Marquise Brown and A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel, you can't really categorize Marquise in with A.J. and Deebo. Marquise is not the same type of player. The Cardinals picked up his 5th-year option after the trade. He's not contractually at the same level that Deebo and AJ are at, and that is looking for mega deals essentially after year 3 in the NFL because they have turned into stars. So we'll limit this to AJ and Deebo, but Marquise is interesting because he's also represented by Tory Dandy, and he also has that trade to his name now. And I think that the lesson to be learned here and the theory to be drawn here is a simple one, that Tory Dandy uses trade requests very liberally in his dealings with teams. We didn't hear about any trade requests pertaining to A.J. Brown, but I think it's obvious that Tory Dandy has his fingerprints all over moving A.J. Brown from Tennessee to the Philadelphia Eagles, as is completely his prerogative, as is his job. It's Tory Dandy's job as A.J. Brown's agent to get his client into the best possible position to secure the best possible contract. And he certainly did that with the move from Tennessee to the Eagles. I suspect that Tory Dandy approached the discussions with the Titans regarding A.J. Brown and with the 49ers regarding Deebo Samuel in very similar fashion. I think that he came to both teams, said that my players want about $25 million per year with X amount of guarantees. And I think that both teams responded fairly negatively to begin. The Titans, by some reports, offered only $16 million a year to A.J. Brown. And the 49ers, by that one report, I don't know what's true and what's not, offered about $19 million to Deebo Samuel. This is, I think, where the paths diverged. I think that the Titans said, fine, we'll trade him, when Tory Dandy said that's not enough money, trade him. And the 49ers basically said, no, get lost, when Tory Dandy and Deebo Samuel demanded the trade in response to what they perceived to be a lowball contract offer. So the Titans weren't willing to deal with that smoke for whatever reason. It could be a good decision. They'd rather have Treylon Burks. They didn't want to deal with paying A.J. Brown anymore. He's got bad knees as well, so I mean, it's a situation with the Titans where they made that decision for their franchise, and the 49ers went in an opposite direction for their franchise. Different players, different decisions, right? A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel have been compared through this whole process. There's so many parallels between them, but at the end of the day, I think that Deebo Samuel is probably more important to the 49ers than A.J. Brown ever was to the Titans. But you got the same agent, same pathway, different team actions. 49ers did not play ball with the trade request, while the Tennessee Titans obviously did. So how does this resolve itself moving forward? Well, it's much less likely now that Deebo Samuel gets traded. It's obviously still possible, but the 49ers seem dug in. Ian Rappaport's latest report this morning said the 49ers didn't really even respond to the trade offers they got yesterday for Deebo. They weren't pried away from their position. I've been saying it all week. 49ers are going to have to be pried away from their position of not wanting to trade Deebo Samuel. And so far, he's in place. He's a valuable member of this team. And if he stays a valuable member of the 49ers, well, it's going to be time for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan to show off their people skills. They're going to have to make sure they can mend the fence, bring Deebo back aboard, because A, you not only want him at the facility participating for Trey Lance and for the team this year, you also want him there happy. You also want him there invested. You don't want a player that doesn't want to be there. And the 49ers, through their actions so far, are betting that they can do just that. All right, everybody, sub to the channel. I'll see you all from Levi's tonight. Day 2 of the draft. 49ers will finally pick. It's going to be fun. Take care.